Hey Jack, have you ever just stopped and truly looked at something, like really looked at it, and wondered what it would be like if that color just wasn't there? I was thinking about it the other day, this wild what if scenario. What if we all, every single one of us, saw the world in black and white?
Whoa, Jill, that's a mind bender right there. I mean, my initial gut reaction is just dull. Imagine everything, you know? The vibrant green of the grass, the clear blue sky, even the stop sign at the corner. All just shades of gray. It's almost hard to picture, isn't it?
Exactly. It's so fundamental to how we experience the world. But then I started thinking beyond dull. What would be the practical implications? Like traffic lights, for instance. How would we know to stop or go? We rely so heavily on red, yellow, green.
That's a huge one. We'd need a whole new system, wouldn't we? Maybe different shapes for the lights, or a flashing sequence, like a triangle for stop, a square for caution, and a circle for go. Or maybe they'd just light up in different intensities of white light. A bright blast for go, a dim pulse for caution.
Yeah, or think about emergency services. How do you identify a fire truck or an ambulance quickly without their distinctive colors? Everything would just blend into this grayscale urban landscape. It'd be chaos initially, I bet.
Absolutely chaos. We'd have to adapt so fast. Uniforms would need bold patterns or reflective materials that stand out, not just a splash of red or blue. And even things like warning labels on chemicals or wires in electronics. You can't just say connect the red wire to the blue wire anymore. That's a serious safety issue.
Right? It makes you realize how much unspoken information color communicates. Think about food, too. The vibrant reds of a strawberry, the deep green of broccoli, the golden crust of bread. A lot of our appetite is visual, isn't it? If everything was just shades of gray, would food still look as appealing?
Oh, that's a profound point, Jill. I mean, we eat with our eyes first, right? A plate of, say, pasta primavera looks incredible with all its colorful vegetables. In black and white, it might just look like a pile of textures. We'd probably rely a lot more on smell and texture to discern freshness or ripeness. A ripe banana compared to an unripe one would just be different shades of gray. You'd have to squeeze it.
And think of nature. We wouldn't have sunsets painted in fiery oranges and purples, or rainbows after a storm. The beauty of a flower wouldn't be in its petal hue but solely in its form and the delicate contrast between its different parts. Would we appreciate shape and texture more?
I think we absolutely would. Our other senses would probably become hyper-tuned. We'd start noticing the subtle variations in light and shadow, the intricate patterns in bark, the way water reflects light differently than stone. Maybe we'd even develop a richer vocabulary for describing shades of gray, beyond just light gray or dark gray. We'd have foggy gray, slate gray, silver gray, charcoal gray, all with specific nuances.
That's a beautiful thought, actually. It's like our perception would be forced to evolve, to find beauty in different places. What about art? Imagine a world where all paintings are essentially charcoal drawings, or photographs are all monochrome. Would abstract art even exist in the same way?
That's fascinating. I think art would be radically different. We'd probably see a huge emphasis on line, form, composition, and texture. Sculptors might become even more revered, and photographers would be masters of light and shadow, capturing mood solely through contrast. Think of all the classic black and white films. They have an incredible depth of emotion just from the interplay of light and dark. Maybe movies would be even more profound.
They really do, don't they? There's a certain timelessness to black and white, a focus on the essence. It strips away the superficial. So, in a world without color, maybe people's personalities would shine through more. We wouldn't be distracted by superficial things like what color shirt someone's wearing or what shade of lipstick they have on.
That's a really interesting social aspect to consider. Would it, in a strange way, level the playing field? Fashion would be purely about cut, fabric, and silhouette. People wouldn't be judged by wearing clashing colors because there would be no colors to clash. Or think about cultural identities tied to specific colors, flags, traditional clothing, that would all have to adapt.
Absolutely. It would force us to rethink a lot of our cultural markers. But on a more personal level, what about emotions? We associate colors with feelings. Red for anger or love, blue for sadness, yellow for joy. Would our emotional landscape change if those visual cues weren't there?
That's deep, Jill. I think we'd have to find new metaphors for emotions. Instead of feeling blue, maybe it would be feeling dim or heavy like a dark cloud. Joy might be bright or effervescent. Our language itself would adapt to describe these internal states without relying on a visual palette. We'd probably use a lot more analogies related to light and sound.
I can see that, and maybe, just maybe, it would make us more attuned to the non-visual aspects of emotion, facial expressions, body language, tone of voice. We'd have to become experts in reading those subtle cues, because we wouldn't have the vibrant tell of a flushed face or sparkling eyes in the same way.
That's a powerful thought. It could actually deepen human connection, couldn't it? We'd be forced to look beyond the surface in a literal sense. Imagine not being able to judge a book by its colorful cover, but by the weight of the paper, the texture of the binding, the intensity of the print. Everything would demand a closer inspection, a deeper engagement.
So, in a way, while we'd lose a whole dimension of visual experience, we might gain a different kind of richness. We'd be more focused on patterns, textures, light, shadow, form, and the less obvious details. It's like a permanent filter has been applied to reality, and we'd have to learn how to see through it, or rather, within it.
It makes me think about how much we take color for granted. It's just there. We don't consciously process the immense amount of information it gives us every second. If it were suddenly gone, the world would feel incredibly alien, like we'd lost a sixth sense.
Yeah, alien but perhaps also unifying? Imagine if everyone saw the same grayscale. Would it reduce some of the visual distinctions that lead to prejudice or preconceived notions? Oh, they wear that color or that group prefers those colors. Those identifiers would be gone.
That's a utopian vision, honestly. It's a fascinating thought that removing color could actually remove some barriers. But then again, humans are pretty good at finding other ways to distinguish themselves, aren't we? It might shift to patterns or unique textures or forms that become identifiers.
True. We're adaptable creatures. But it does make you wonder if the initial shock and the forced shift in perception would foster a temporary sense of shared experience, a common challenge that brings people together. Like, we're all in this grayscale boat together, figuring out how to navigate.
I think it definitely would. The immediate scramble to redefine things, road signs, product packaging, even just describing what you saw to a friend, would be a shared monumental task. We'd be constantly saying, no, not that light gray, the other light gray, the one that's almost white but not quite.
Laughs. Is it more of a dove gray or a charcoal dust gray? I can already hear the debates. And imagine trying to explain the concept of color to someone born into that black and white world. It would be like trying to explain a fifth dimension.
It would be impossible. No, see, there's this other property of light, beyond brightness and darkness, and it makes things look different. Like, a fire engine isn't just a very dark gray. It has this feeling of intensity, a certain warmth. They'd just look at you like you're crazy.
So what about the psychological impact over time? Would a black and white world lead to more melancholy, or would our brains just adjust and find new sources of stimulation and joy within the monochromatic spectrum?
I think we'd adapt. Humans are incredibly resilient. Initially, there might be a period of mourning for lost vibrancy. But eventually, we'd probably start to see new forms of beauty. The way light hits a building at dawn, creating sharp contrasts. The intricate patterns in a knitted sweater. We'd learn to appreciate the subtle gradients that currently get overshadowed by bold colors.
It really highlights how much our perception shapes our reality. If the visual input changes so dramatically, then our internal experience of the world would have to shift too. Perhaps we'd become more introspective or more focused on sound, touch, and even taste to make up for the diminished visual information.
Definitely. Imagine music getting even more powerful, or literature becoming even more evocative because it's providing the color through words. People would probably spend more time listening to podcasts too, because auditory experiences wouldn't be competing with a vivid visual world.
Self-serving, Jack, but you're probably right. It makes you realize how much our senses work in concert. Take away one and the others step up, often in surprising ways. It's like our brains are constantly recalibrating, looking for the most efficient way to understand the environment.
It's a testament to the brain's plasticity, isn't it? And think about dreams. Would people still dream in color if they'd never seen it in waking life? Or would their dreams be a vivid, surreal landscape of grays, blacks, and whites, perhaps even more intense because of the lack of everyday color?
Oh, that's a fascinating thought. If you've never experienced color, your brain wouldn't have that data to draw upon. So dreams would be in monochrome, but perhaps heightened in other ways. Sound, emotion, sensation. It's like the universe saying, okay, you don't get that, but here's this instead.
And on a deeper level, would it change our understanding of good and evil, right and wrong? We often use black and white thinking as a metaphor for simplistic, binary views. But what if that was literally our visual reality? Would it force us to find nuance in other ways, or reinforce a more rigid worldview?
That's a very philosophical turn, Jack. I think it could go either way, couldn't it? On one hand, the visual simplicity might encourage simplistic thinking. On the other hand, it might force us to look beyond the surface, to understand complexity in behavior and intent, rather than relying on visual cues that often simplify things. We'd learn to appreciate the 50 shades of gray in human nature.
Ha! Nicely put. And what about personal memories? If you remember a childhood moment, would it suddenly be recolored in your mind to black and white? Or would the memory retain its original color even though you can no longer perceive it in the present?
That's a bit unsettling, isn't it? Like my memory of my bright red bicycle wouldn't be accurate anymore, it'd just be the dark gray bike. It would be a loss of detail for every single visual memory. It would feel like a constant editing of your past.
Yeah, like someone went back and desaturated all your old photos. It would fundamentally change our relationship with our own history, wouldn't it? The vibrancy of past experiences might fade along with the colors.
But perhaps it would also force us to focus on the narrative of the memory, the emotion, the people involved, rather than just the visual spectacle. It would certainly challenge our existing ways of thinking and experiencing.
So, to bring it back a bit, Jill, if we lived in this black and white world, do you think people would constantly crave color? Would it be a mythical concept, like the land of the rainbow, or something people didn't even realize they were missing?
I think for those who were born into it, they wouldn't miss what they never knew. But for those of us who experienced color and then lost it, there would be a profound sense of loss, a longing for that lost dimension. It's like losing a sense you learn to adapt, but there's always that echo of what was.
I can imagine, like a phantom limb but for your eyes. You'd instinctively reach for a vibrant shirt, then remember, or look at a garden and sigh, knowing what it used to look like. It really makes you appreciate the incredible gift of color, doesn't it?
It truly does. This whole thought experiment has made me want to go outside and just stare at a patch of flowers or a bright blue sky and just soak in every single hue. It's so easy to take for granted.
Me too, Jill. It's a reminder that beauty isn't just one thing, and our perception is a powerful, malleable tool. But man, I'm glad we live in a world with color. It adds so much richness and joy to our lives. Let's not take it for granted.
Absolutely, Jack. It's been a fascinating journey into the grayscale. Thanks for pondering with me on this one.
Anytime, Jill. And remember, everyone, go out there and enjoy the incredible palette of your world today. Don't just see it, experience it. We'll catch you next time.